Hey, g'day guys, this is the Mad DM and this is Mad D&D. My friend Mao, shout out to Mao, just wanted to know what mods I use on Foundry Virtual Tabletop. Now I have 31 mods, of which 24 are active. 11 of my mods are from the top 15 mods that are used, and how I found that out is I use Forge Virtual Tabletop, which you can see up here. Which is a server-based software for Foundry. So I run mine purely off browser. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but my Foundry music is playing. It's all royalty-free, so it should be fine. And let's get into this. So the Beyond 20 companion module, really crucial. For me, I use D&D Beyond, and this allows me to use the Beyond 20 extension for Google Chrome and Firefox to import data from that. Now, I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but that music is loud, so I'm just going to pop it down a tone and get straight back into it. So this is where you go to manage your modules. Character actions list, if it is the one correct. I couldn't toggle them on and off because a lot of the modules are dependent on other modules. Otherwise, I'd toggle them off, show you them on and off, and hopefully it would load quickly. But this, if it is what I think it is, let's just press tab to find one of my characters. Tab. Nope, it's not working on him. That's my... Is that because they're NPCs? Oh, it is. It's just behind the camera. Okay, so I'll just drag that down. Is it easy, or did I just destroy it? Factors. All right, give me a sec. I'm operating off multiple screens here. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, cool. So if this is what I think it is, this is the best mod. You can already double click on your character and you can already select their actions. Of course, this one hasn't been set up, so that's dumb. But if we go to even this gobbo here, you have all their attacks and you can just operate them from there, all their skill checks, all their saves. You can throw on conditions. You can check if a condition is active quite easily because it'll go to effects once you do, and then utility. Which is pretty handy. Oh, you can roll initiative from there. See, I learned something new. So that's the actions list, I think. It's one of the most handy ones. I got that off the top list when I was on Forge. Chat damage button Beyond 20 edition. I think that's so when I use Beyond 20 that I can apply damage straight out of the chat when it comes up. Really handy. I really like that one. You can click on the character, and whatever character you're clicking on, you can apply damage, half damage, heal, or double damage, I think. Compact D&D Beyond 5e character sheet. Now that is probably, when I went into this character sheet before, this guy here, what gives it this look, as opposed to a Foundry Virtual Tabletop look. It'd be good if I found one that actually has stats. That makes it look like this with a spell book. It looks more like D&D Beyond. I have a few character sheet mods on, and the way you deal with them is you can double click on him. You got a sheet up here, and it says, so mine says default sheet, and then it says default sheet is Compact D&D Beyond Like. So that is the one I'm using, so that's a confirmation that that is the mod that I was talking about just then. So there's some things you can cross-check like that. Cycle token stack. Now, I don't have that on at the moment. I think I just turned off a lot of the things I wasn't using a lot with a compatibility risk. But basically, when you click the button, if you've got a bunch of tokens in the same square, it just flips one to the top. It's pretty handy if you use a bunch of tokens that like jump on top of each other and whatnot. You need to find them if you're having a big rumble, using swarms or something. But yeah, that's what that is. D&D Beyond Importer. Now, I use two D&D Beyond importers, and I'm not going to know which one this is unless I uninstall the other one. So let's just double click. These, so there's one of them. This is the D&D Beyond Character Importer, and this one here is my D&D Beyond Character Import. So they both have very similar names. This one here is quicker. This one here is thorough. So this one gives you all of the icons on everything. It'll put your profile picture of your character from D&D Beyond in the list of characters on Foundry. This one just pops them out real quick. So if you're on the fly and you just want to get some stuff down, you do this. and then once you've got them downloaded, I've never had that situation where I'm that rushed to download characters and play like that. But if you are, you use that one, and then once everything's flowing, you can use this one. This one pops up a lot of bars on your screen, which you can navigate around. You can even move these around to get away from it. But it's, you know, it puts everything on there really shiny, so I really like it. I use it almost exclusively. Oops, some settings I didn't know. I think with your modules you have to go to, I think, configure settings as well for some of them. I was always wondering how to use them. Next, so then we have Dice So Nice. As far as I know, that's so my characters can play around with the dice. I thought it was the one that made the virtual dice, but I think it just lets them play with the colors. Again, that's in the settings, so I don't use it too much. I think I set it once to white dice and I was stoked. Dice Tray. So Dice Tray, if I'm not mistaken, is this thing here where I can make dice happen, which is really handy. And you can then edit them and get some dice that you don't normally get, like a D2, and it has it already programmed. So that's there. And if you roll a D3, I think it's pretty well programmed to then throw a dice with 1s and 2s and 3s. So it's really cool. Highly recommend having that. Just makes quick rolls. Normally all your rolls are going to come from these. So you're going to drop an acrobatics check. Normally that's where your rolls should come from if you're playing with the Foundry Virtual Tabletop and everyone knows what's going on. If not, that little dice maker setting is great. Otherwise, you'd be manually trying to type in those codes off the top of your head. And not all my friends are programmers, so that's that. Okay, what's next? D&D Beyond NPC sheet. So those are characters. This Gobbo here is an NPC. So same situation. My default sheet is the D&D Beyond NPC sheet. So that's what I use to make this look more like that. Should I show you what the other one looks like? Let's see if this does it. Yeah, so that's your normal Foundry one. The Foundry ones are fine. They're just not as pretty and they're not as familiar. So it comes with those free. If you don't install them, that's the mod there, right there. Bada bing, bada boom, done. All right, next mod, we are down to Dynamic Illumination. That was to play around with lighting. I haven't got into it yet. It's pretty cool. You can make some stuff. I think you can make animated lighting, so like stars and stuff can come in and things. I don't know, whatever. Effects Master. This one is cute. I like this one. This, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's specifically this button, or maybe it puts that button on there. Don't quote me on that. But Effects Master is this folder of effects. So yeah, I think the effects is normally there, but this folder is what you get out of it. It's just a small folder of cool effects. That one I really like. This one I really like. This one's handy. Yeah, and then Fireball is pretty cool, but what I normally do with Fireball, did it work? Is I usually click on every single guy that got hit and then click a bunch of other times to make it a bit bigger and scarier, but it's pretty good. Blood Splatter, just hit my guy with that. I pressed that a few times. Blood Splatter is great. I've got to use that more often, but I often play with children, so not that great. I might have just put the rating of my video just up by doing that. Acid Line. So that's all fun. Yeah, if anyone does any acid spells, I'd bust that one out. That's the only time that comes out. Alright, manage cap. Duh. Anyway. Eating my words. Okay, so hide player UI. Okay, so these are for things. So if you're streaming in that and you want to hide a bunch of the stuff around here, you can do that without commands. It's just got some commands programmed in. And then you can go into settings and pick the things you don't want them to see. I didn't want them to see who was in the game because we had a PvP where it was supposed to be mystery who the other side was and we all were friends. So that's what I use it for. Iconizer, I'm not sure. That's probably one of the reasons why it's off. Jitsi Web RTC, I haven't used that before. I know it's on, but I think it's either another app underneath an app or it's the video client for Foundry. So yeah, obviously don't need that. Lib Captions, Lib Wrapper, I think those are also support apps for other apps that I use. MIDI QOL. Couldn't tell you to save my life. Don't remember. Multi-level tokens. This one is for, I might actually pull up an actual map with this. Let's get the aquatic maps up and let's run this one. So this is my ship map. I put this on Instagram a bunch. I'm not sure if I'm linking my Instagram to this video, so unless this is published on Instagram, you won't get access to my Instagram. Sorry, too bad. Anyway, so see all those red lines? Your players will not see those, but those are teleporters. In this case, these are one-way teleporters. This is a two-way teleporter, which means when I go back over the same teleporter, it goes back up. And on top of that, see, go over here. On top of that, this is a separate map. See, because up here there's this top part, the helm, and down here on the main deck, there's the captain quarters and that. So I have a token cloning. See, she's got a blue. Can I click her? No. All right. So, oh yeah, see this guy here. He's got a red one. He's actually a clone because he's on the other layer. So when I go here, he's actually on this layer. And it just it's for when you have a building with multiple levels looking over the same place. That's the main function on that part of it is. So this app does both of those things. So you can set token cloning and teleporters. And there's also a stairs thing, but it's basically the same thing. So I don't really use it. So that's that one. That's one of my favorite, but it's based on your map. So if you're not using any maps that use levels or stairs and that, then you don't need it. If you're not using teleporters at all, but if you want to use teleporters, use those. You can even use it for like a magical teleporter Natar, but yeah. Where are we at? Multi-level tokens. My Beyond D&D 5e character sheet theme. I think that's another one that I'm not using. So let's just double click. Click my sheets. So I'm using compact D&D like. It's not even on there. So maybe it's part. Okay, so maybe the first mod is this setup, and maybe it's the thing that puts all the actions and spellbook and all that stuff here. I don't know. I could be using a combination of apps. If you don't get the full effect and you're watching this video, go back and check and see if it looks like what I've done. That's the only way I can tell you to do that one. I'm not going to turn it off and on because I don't want to blow anything up. Maybe one of these mods is one that can hide your cursor as well. I think it could also be the same one that is the Play UI one, but it might be another one. Anyway, pings. Pings are great. Long click, you're done. Roofs and overhead tiles. This has apparently become obsolete because the roofs and overhead tiles are now handled by Foundry. But I do find that this mod was better in certain ways at doing that because it allowed, like it didn't have some coding that the new one has, but it did allow for fading in and out of roofs and setting the different roofs in different ways. So I had, for example, trees and tarps go faded translucent when you went into them. And then I had houses, because the roof texture was too gritty, just disappear when you went into them. So that's really cool like that. That's what it's for. Setting extender, I don't know what I'm setting with that. Socket lib, again, probably some supporting one. Furnace, again, have it turned off because it was not compatible with the new version. I think it's just like a bunch of extra stuff. Again, don't use it. Token action hub. So what was this? Character action list. D&D Beyond, D&D 5e. I am very curious if what I thought that was is this. Let's see if I blow this up. It's going to be great for this video. I may or may not put a disclaimer at the end and then flip it around. So this is what it's going to look like when you adjust a mod. It's going to take a little while. You can crack your knuckles while you're waiting, or do other gross stuff like that. But I just wanted to confirm, I also just wanted to show you that. So boom, 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 these are all little messages from all the mods. Have another whinges. Let's click this, press tab. Let's find one of our guys. And as you can see, that's gone. So that is actually the action hub. So the player UI that I showed you before, not quite sure what that is then. Anyway, so what was that one? It was one of the top ones we went to. Character actions list. So that's also probably again in the character sheet. So that's something you'll have to check out for yourself. I'm turning that back on. Token mold. Token mold is really good. If you're DMing for kids, I'd be weary. I think token mold is the one, every time you pull in an NPC, it gives it a number, and it gives them, you can set it up for a random adjective. So yeah, if you set it up without the random adjective, it's going to be fine with children. It also can set up HP bars and that, which sometimes find annoying because it makes enemies easy to see, but then it's also cliche like video game style. But then, yeah, it shows you the HP, so you can play around with it. Torch. Now I'm going to do this again. Sorry. This is why I didn't turn on and off. Another reason why I didn't turn on and off all the modules, because I don't want to do a serious amount of editing on this video either. It's already gone for 16 minutes, which now sounds like longer than what it would have taken for me to explain things to Mal in writing. But in saying that, probably would have taken me 16 minutes to type it up. All right, so torch tab. Where are you? You right click on him. It does torch. Nope. Torch. Okay, maybe because he's an NPC. Let's find a player. This one already has his torch on, so torch off. Excuse me, that was gross. Turns on, turns off. Now, his vision has been set up like me. When someone doesn't have dark vision, I go to their prototype token, which you can access from the character sheet over here in this setting. What I'm doing now, token just means for this one scene, but prototype token means for every scene. I'm going to sneeze again, that's great. You go to vision tab, and I set their vision to 1 or 1.5 usually, is I think the magic number. And that just makes them see their token, because otherwise if new players and they don't have dark vision, they're in the dark, it gets hectic. I set this light down here to a yellow or an orange, set it to 0.4, 0.35, and I set that setting to torch. That's the animation. Otherwise, it's just a generic, white light area when you turn this, when you use this torch mod on. So all that other stuff was just regular Foundry settings. The mod here just makes it go on and off real quick. If you don't have this mod or you don't want this mod, then you would be doing it again manually by putting in 20 dim light here and 40 dim light here for torches and lanterns and things. The thing is, it doesn't do lanterns. So if I have a character who's using a lantern, then I'll probably press the torch button on, and then I'll come here and adjust it. So then it goes boom, boom. If they got a candle, it'll depend on the situation, whether I turn it on with a torch or just come straight here if I don't want to reveal too much or don't want to show off too much. So that is that one. How are we going? Getting on to almost a 20-minute video. Torch turn marker. Turn marker is really cool. Okay, I'll just show you that actually. Put this guy in fight. So putting this guy in a fight is just a normal, it's not the turn marker. They're all dark. Put this guy in a fight. So this is regular D&D, this is regular Foundry. Begin combat. That's the turn marker, that thing there. But it will go to whoever's turn it is. Looks like it predicted the initiative already. So then when you go next turn, it'll go to next person. So it just really marks it up. It's a little bit fanciful. It can affect the realism or depending how you're playing. So that one's really cool. Occasionally if you delete a character when it's when you haven't turned off the combat like that, it's actually a tile. You just have to come here and then delete it. So that's just a little pro tip for you. And lastly, these ones. Vehicles and mechanisms. Vehicles and mechanisms allow you to link tokens, tiles, drawings, and barriers together or separately to make a moving vehicle. It requires the multi-level tokens button. You can set it up so it moves whatever's in there initially, or it moves certain ones of those as they come along. So that means, so you can say this walls, so these walls and these program drawings, so that's really good for the multi-level token. So if you've got a vehicle that's got levels on it, and this one, you make it from, only move the ones that are in that vicinity from the beginning, and then you make it moves whatever tokens are in it always. That will make a vehicle that can pick up people on the way, and as it moves, they move. It's good for ships. I haven't fully set up my ship map like that yet, because it's also a finicky app you got to really play around with to get right, and if you program it wrong, blah. So I eventually want to do that either on a separate layer or on the same layer, that you can see the ships going next to each other. I guess one of the issues is when you turn it. Oh yeah, that was one of the issues I had. When you turn it, your tokens start to swivel, because when it's not lined in the grid, they find a grid point, and they slide out of their position. If that wasn't there, then it would be just a superb situation. So what I want to do is, rather than setting up the vehicle as the primary mover of the people, I want to have them on a stationary ship, and then have their clones from the token levels on the vehicle. So when the clones move, they're going to be locked back into place by the fact that they're cloning the initial position. Technical stuff, big brain stuff. Yeah, that's why I haven't used it, because it's going to take a lot of effort. Virtual tabletop assets, D&D Beyond integration. Don't know. It's one of them. And WebRTC tweaks, don't know. So that is my full list of 31 mods. When you find the mods, there's usually like a link to read up. I forget the name of it. That's a very common programmer name. You're all laughing at me if you know it. You click on the link and it'll tell you all the stuff. Some have got better information than others, and some of them have got tutorials on how to use them. So check those out. Read them. So if I want to do a purge, like if I want to get rid of some of these mods I'm not using, that's what I will go and do. I will go and reread what they do and be like, I don't use that, or I'm not really into that anymore, and then delete them rather than deactivating them. Of course, deactivating them is chill, so I just have that for now. And then also the ones that I'm not using, so I can learn what they do, so then I activate them and use them, because if I don't know what they do, I want less things going on, because it can get quite crowded. And then the more mods you have, the more chances you have of things going blip, and my one often goes blip. So that's that for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Sorry it went for so long, but you know, like if in the future, either this video or another video, I'll crop it down. So shout out for Mal. Hope this is useful, and I will catch us.